Union with a new monthly segment on the morning show, Fraud Fighters and Financial Wellness. We have Risk and Compliance Manager Angela Hadley and Financial Wellness Manager Collin Martin. Good
morning.
See you.
Yeah,
Good morning.
Thanks for having us.
I saw catfishing on the rundown today, and everyone's getting really excited. You want to talk about catfishing?
Yes.
It happens in banking and financial
it
situations.
happens across the world to any demographic, right? Anybody really can become a victim.
Yeah.
It's on Dateline a lot.
It's on Dateline.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's on 2020.
Yep.
It's maybe
48
even
hours.
upstairs.
Well, what is catfishing?
Sure. So catfishing is, just another one of those scams that's out there. There's a ton of them, unfortunately, these days. But essentially, the anatomy is somebody who is pretending to be someone they're not, right?
Mm-hmm.
Generally, in the world that we're in, it's perpetuated through that social media channel. It's that old high school friend who adds you on Facebook that you haven't talked to in 10 years. But when you look at their profile, you can kind of tell something seems off.
Are there any famous examples of catfishing?
There is. So as you mentioned, we're seeing it more and more. There's different shows. There's MTV has a whole show on catfishing, right? That one is kind of the romantic component, but generally there's always that financial gain for the fraudster. So.
Right.
On Facebook, if you get a message from someone that says, "Hi, how are you?" To me, that's a clue.
Yep.
That's not a real person.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
They'll try to engage with you through those social media channels, but they always try to keep it through that channel,
Sure.
right? They can't talk on the phone, of course. They can't engage with you, doing some type of phone call
Right.
or video chat because it's not really the
Right.
person they're pretending to be. So.
But some of these people are good, and some of these scams are,
Absolutely.
they look like the real thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep. They do. This is their job, right? There's literally contact centers, call centers in other areas or other
Right.
countries where this is what they do, 40 hours a week, So you're exactly to your point, they're very good at what they do.
Yeah, like Croatia. You'll see a lot of the language misuse.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep. Misspelling can definitely be a red flag.
Okay. Yeah.
Have you ever been catfished?
I've been, I don't know, attempted to be catfished. I'm not as bad as Manti Te'o. Of course, that probably might be the most famous example of catfishing in the history of catfishing, when he
It's a whole show on
had a
it.
girlfriend that didn't exist, and
Yes.
then
It's like
she died but still didn't exist, and then there was a funeral and she still didn't exist.
Yeah.
It's crazy. So yeah, but it can literally, I think it can happen to anyone.
Absolutely. Yep. It's not a certain, like I said, certain demographic or, all walks of life. And it's not about, a lot of people, when they do fall victim, get very embarrassed. And it's not about that. It's really, like you said, they're very good at what they do, and they pull on those heartstrings to get you to take action.
So people being embarrassed are less likely to report.
Absolutely. Yeah, which is unfortunate. I think, there are statistics out there that these types of crime in particular go way underreported because of that exact reason. But that just means that those fraudsters are out there doing that to someone else. So we always encourage people to report. Our website, of course, thefraudfighters.org, has a lot of different resources where people can report. IC3.gov is a really good website where you can report internet crimes. We have the Attorney General's information right there on the website. So we always encourage people to get that information out there and not feel ashamed or embarrassed.
Collin, what do you do if you see fraud charges on your account, and then are they normally small amounts or large amounts? How does that work?
Yeah, so it depends. Typically, when you do see the fraud on your account, the best thing to do is contact your financial institution immediately, so they can start the dispute process. I actually, when I was in college, had a $700 charge on my account from buying Dell computers out in Texas.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah. The person actually shipped the computers to their house, so they were pretty easily caught. But they definitely came a long way since then.
Yes.
They've got a lot better with technology, a lot better with faking it. But yeah, the best thing is to reach out to your financial institution immediately to really get that process started.
Yeah,
Which-
I've had
You have.
Ticketmaster, FanDuel.
Yeah.
And her first call is to me, which I don't like. You should
Call your local financial institution.
yeah.
Yes.
This all leads to, the idea of financial wellness, monitoring your finances. You really need to be on top of really all your spending.
Yeah, definitely. So the biggest way to do that is start with a budget. So you create a budget so you know what your expenses are. And then from there, you're monitoring your expenses to see how well you're aligned with your budget. And then when you're monitoring your expenses, you can see if there's anything that's not quite right or something that you haven't done. It's really going to stand out to you because you're consistently monitoring it and taking a look at it regularly.
People, I think everyone keeps track of what their, I guess their standing is financially from their credit score.
Yeah.
So does having a budget, does that impact, do the credit scoring people know you have a budget?
So it doesn't impact it that way. The way a budget can help impact your credit score is you're really budgeting for the expenses that you have and then also setting up a budget for your emergency fund. So if something was to happen, if you were to fall victim of fraud, you'll have a backup plan as far as how you're going to pay your bills. So they're reporting that you're still on time with your payments. They're still showing that you're positively growing your credit score at that point instead of letting this one fraud thing negatively affect your credit score and really it can drop it a dramatic amount.
How important is this financial education that you guys are providing to your members?
It's huge.
And it really comes down to it's more than, with the Fraud Fighters initiative, it's more than just our members, right? It is our community. We're so excited to be here on this segment, and we're doing that in a variety of different ways. The Fraud Fighters meet with law enforcement, other financial institutions, nonprofits to share this type of information. Of course, we are getting it out there on social media and on our website. We visit various businesses throughout Jackson to be able to speak to, what's going on so they can be informed.
Should people open their statement from the credit union every month or just pile them on the kitchen counter?
What do you do currently?
Kitchen counter.
Kitchen counter. He sends them to you?
Yeah, right.
No, they should definitely take a look at them. And I mean, it's definitely a good record of what you've spent money on. And just scrubbing through that every month could be a good routine to get into to see, is there any fraud on there? Or maybe it was, man, I really spent a lot out going out to dinner this week, or this month. Maybe I should kind of cut it back a little bit to save some more money. But yeah, it's definitely important to keep an eye on that.
Yeah, and with online banking, it gives you that opportunity in real time, and a lot of different online banking has the opportunity to set up different alerts. So if you go over that spending threshold, whatever you feel comfortable with, it will tell you that, and you can get like a text message right to your phone. So even faster than those monthly statements.
Could have used that in Disney World a couple weeks ago.
Yes.
Well, sometimes I'll get a text message, hey, did you just spend such and such?
Sure. Yep. And the tricky thing with that is that can be legitimate, right? That may be your financial institution and their whoever they contract with for that. But then again, that is a really easy way. So I always recommend if you're unsure, just call where you know, right? Go into the institution where you deal with so you can speak to them about that.
Yeah.
And you've got a whole website dedicated to fighting fraud.
We do. Yep. The fraudfighters.org is a really great resource. Of course, catfishing is featured, but our other various scams as well. And then, as I mentioned, those resources, if you do fall victim, and again, we encourage the reporting of that information.
Well, that wraps up our first episode of our new monthly feature presented by American One Credit Union, Fraud Fighters, and Financial Wellness. Thanks for coming in today.
Thank you
Thanks
so
for
much.
having us.
Thank you both. Great to see you.
Angela Hadley and Collin Martin. And you might see these folks at the Downtown Transfer Center this week during Transportation Week. More of the morning show